All right, this is a true story. And honestly, I still can't believe my own parents said this. My 13-year-old daughter Lily was in the hospital having emergency surgery, and my parents called it nothing serious. Then they said something so vile, so unforgivable that I can't unhear it. They told my daughter, to her face, that she should have died instead, that she was bad for our family anyway because she was mentally ill. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I made one phone call that changed everything. 6 months later, they showed up at our door begging, and what I did next shocked everyone. If you're wondering how a hospital room turned into the moment, I finally cut off my own parents forever. Same. Let's get into it. It started on a Tuesday evening. Lily came home from school clutching her stomach, her face pale and twisted in pain. "Mom, something's really wrong," she said. It hurt so bad, I thought maybe it was her period, maybe food poisoning. But when I touched her stomach and she screamed, I knew this was serious. I drove her straight to the emergency room. By the time we got there, she was crying so hard she could barely breathe. The doctors ran tests quickly, efficiently, and within an hour, they had an answer. Appendicitis. It's about to rupture. We need to operate immediately. My heart stopped. "She's 13, I said stupidly, like that mattered. "I know," the doctor said gently. "But if we don't operate now, it could kill her. Sign here," I signed. They wheeled her away and she looked so small on that gurney, so scared. "Mom!" she called out. "I'll be right here, baby," I promised. "I'm not going anywhere." The surgery was supposed to take an hour. It took 3. Complications, they said. The appendix had already started to rupture. They had to clean out the infection. "She's stable now, but she'll need to stay for observation." I sat in that waiting room shaking, and that's when I called my parents. I thought they'd want to know. I thought they'd care. My mom answered on the 3rd ring. "Hello? Mom, it's me. Lily's in the hospital. She had emergency surgery." There was a pause. "What kind of surgery?" "Appendicitis. It ruptured. They had to operate immediately." Another pause, longer this time. "Is she alive?" "Yes, but then it's fine," my mom said. "You're being dramatic. It's not that serious." I blinked. "Mom, her appendix ruptured. She could have died. But she didn't." My mom said simply, "Kids have their appendix out all the time. It's routine." "This wasn't routine," I said, my voice rising. "This was an emergency. They said if we'd waited another hour." "Well, you didn't wait, so what's the problem?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "The problem is my daughter just had major surgery, and I thought you'd want to know." "We do know," she said. "You just told us." "Are you coming?" I asked. "To the hospital?" My mom sounded genuinely confused. "Why would we do that?" "Because Lily is your granddaughter," I said slowly. "And she's scared and in pain, and she might want to see you." My dad's voice came on the line. He'd picked up the other phone. "Rachel," he said, "your mother's right. This isn't a big deal. You're overreacting like you always do. Lily's fine. She's in recovery." "She's not fine," I said. "She's 13 and she's terrified and she just had surgery." "We're not driving 2 hours for an appendix," he said flatly. "Call us when it's actually serious." They hung up. I sat there staring at my phone for a full minute, trying to process what had just happened. Then I went back to Lily's room. She was awake, groggy from anesthesia, tears streaking down her face. "It hurts, Mama," she whispered. "I know, baby. They're going to give you more medicine soon." "Where's Grandma and Grandpa?" I froze. They couldn't make it tonight, sweetie. They said they'll call you tomorrow." She nodded and closed her eyes, too tired to question it. But I knew. I knew she'd heard the hope in her own voice. I knew she wanted them there. 2 days later, Lily was still in the hospital. The infection had been worse than they thought. She needed IV antibiotics and monitoring. She was in pain. She was bored. She was lonely. And then my parents showed up. I was in the cafeteria getting coffee when I got a text from the nurse. "Your parents are here visiting Lily." I ran. I literally ran back to her room. When I got there, my mom and dad were standing next to Lily's bed. Lily looked confused but happy to see them. My mom was smiling, but it was her fake smile, the one she uses when she's performing. "Well, you look fine," my mom said to Lily. "See? I told your mother this wasn't serious." Lily's face fell slightly. "It was pretty serious, Grandma. The doctor said my appendix almost exploded." My dad waved his hand dismissively. "Doctors always exaggerate, makes them seem more important." My mom sat on the edge of the bed. "Lily, sweetie, we need to talk to you about something." I stepped forward. "Mom, not now." She ignored me completely. "Lily, your mother tells us you've been seeing a therapist." Lily glanced at me nervously. "Yeah, for my anxiety." My mom nodded slowly. "And that's been going on for how long now?" "Almost a year," Lily said quietly. My dad crossed his arms. "That's what we thought." "Lily, do you know how much that's costing your mother? Do you know how much trouble you're causing?" I stepped between them and the bed. Get out, both of you. Right now. Rachel, don't be ridiculous, my mom said. We're having a conversation with our granddaughter. You're upsetting her, I said. She just had surgery. Get out. My dad's face hardened. We drove 2 hours to see her. We're not leaving until we say what we came to say. Then say it and leave, I said. My mom turned back to Lily. And what she said next, I will never, ever forget. Lily, honey, you need to understand something. Your anxiety, your depression, all of this mental illness stuff. It's very hard on your mother. It's hard on all of us. You're only 13. You shouldn't be this much work. I felt my blood turn to ice. Excuse me? My dad nodded in agreement. She's right. And honestly, Lily, when we heard about the surgery, we thought maybe it would be better if... He paused. If what? I demanded. He looked at Lily directly. If you hadn't made it. The room went completely silent. Lily's face crumpled. What? If the surgery had gone wrong, my mom said, still in that calm, reasonable voice. It would have solved a lot of problems. You're very difficult, Lily. You're expensive. You're bad for this family. Maybe it would have been better for everyone if you just... She trailed off, but the meaning was crystal clear. Lily started crying, those horrible, broken sobs that only come from complete devastation. I moved so fast I don't even remember crossing the room. I grabbed my mother's arm and physically pulled her toward the door. Get out, I said. My voice didn't sound like mine. Get out right now or I'm calling security. Rachel, my dad started. I pointed at the door. Out. Now. Before I do something we'll all regret. They left. My mom looked offended, like I'd embarrassed her at a dinner party. My dad looked annoyed, like I was being unreasonable. And Lily, my beautiful, fragile 13-year-old daughter, sobbed into her pillow like her heart was shattering. I held her. I held her while she cried and asked me why Grandma and Grandpa hated her. I held her while she asked if they were right. If she was bad for our family, if everyone would be better off without her. And I held her while I made a decision that I should have made years ago. When she finally fell asleep, exhausted from crying, I stepped into the hallway and made a phone call. Not to my parents, to my divorce lawyer. I'm cutting them off completely, I told her. I want a restraining order if they try to contact. Lily, I want it documented in case they try. For grandparent visitation, I want them gone. She didn't argue. She'd met my parents once. She understood. It took 2 weeks, but we made it official. No contact order. Legal documentation of what they'd said. A paper trail in case they ever tried to claim. They had rights to see Lily. And for 6 months, there was silence. Beautiful, peaceful silence. Lily started getting better. Her anxiety decreased. She smiled more. She stopped asking about her grandparents after the first month. We're better off without them, she said one day. And I nearly cried because she was right. Then they showed up at our house. I saw them through the window. My mom carrying flowers, my dad holding a card. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. What do you want? Rachel, we need to talk, my mom said. We've had time to think and no, I said. We're sorry, my dad interrupted. We said things we didn't mean. We want to make this right. I laughed. It was a bitter, ugly sound. You told my daughter she should have died. You told her she was bad for our family. You said that to a 13-year-old in a hospital bed. My mom's face hardened. We were under stress. We didn't mean it literally. Get off my property, I said. Rachel, please, my dad tried. I have a restraining order, I said calmly. You're violating it. You have 30 seconds to leave before I call the police. But we're family, my mom said, and her voice actually broke. She was crying. Real tears. Not the family that matters, I said. Lily is my family. You are nothing. I closed the door in their faces and locked it. I watched through the window as they stood there for a long moment, then finally walked away. Lily came downstairs. Were those, yeah, I said. Are they gone? Yeah, baby, they're gone. Good, she said. She hugged me tight. Thanks for picking me, Mom. I picked you the second you were born, I said. And I'll pick you every single time. 6 months later, we're thriving. Lily's anxiety is manageable. She's doing well in school. She has friends. She laughs. My parents tried to send cards. I returned them unopened. They tried to show up at Lily's school. The school had already been notified and turned them away. They sent a letter through a lawyer. My lawyer sent one back that made their lawyer stop calling. And you know what? I don't feel guilty. Not even a little bit. Because the day they told my daughter she should have died was the day they stopped being her grandparents. They stopped being my parents too. Some things you don't come back from. Some words you can't unsay. And I will spend the rest of my life making sure Lily knows that she matters. That she's loved. That she's not too much or too difficult or bad for anyone. She's perfect exactly as she is. So what do you think? Did I overreact or should I have cut them off sooner? Let me know in the comments and subscribe for more real stories like this.